Welcome to the Wine Cage. I'm Dylan.
I'm Amanda.
And tonight, we, along with producer Wolfie, are looking into this James Busby Barossa Valley Grenache 2021. I can't remember what the catalyst was for us to actually pick this up. The label looks kind of interesting. I know that was a factor. I think it was on special as well.
I think it was.
I've forgotten the price point on this one, but it'll be on the super at the end of the review, so look out for that. But I remember it was a good deal. This was not an expensive wine at all. It was relatively inexpensive. This one's got a pretty funky label, and I reckon you're going to have some things to say about it. I feel like I have gut level reactions to this label. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know, 60s porn or something.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it looks like a 60s lounge room.
I haven't watched a lot of 60s porn myself,
oh, really?
So
okay.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where to put that one. But yes, I do have things I can say about this.
I think I was just thinking of that Paul Thomas Anderson film. What's his? That
was it the one we started watching?
No, we didn't. Anyway, everyone knows it. It's the PTA film, Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights is the film.
I don't think I've even heard of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if it's worth watching at this point in your life. It's the sort of film that's better watched when you're a bit younger. Anyway, we got off track real quick. Forget about porn. There's nothing to do with porn. This is a wholesome channel, except for the liquor, that's about wine, and I want to know what you think about this label.
Well, I mean, you are on the money with it feeling a bit 60s, and there is a big revival of all things retro at the moment in design, in fashion, basically.
I mean, it's literally like brown and gold, right?
Yes, although I don't know how 60s that is. That feels a little more 70s to me. The typeface with the Busby feels very 70s to me.
I think you're right, 70s. I don't know why I said 60s. You know, I guess there's a bit of crossover there.
There's definitely crossover, so I get where you're coming from. The browns really came into fashion in the 70s, but now we're getting off track again. This whole sort of design here with this like ridgy arch thing and then the gold foil circle, that's very, again, I'm not scratch with my design terminology, but if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It's very in vogue right now. You see it a lot in kind of design magazines and in architecture, in home furnishings. These types of shapes and colours are very in vogue right now. So they're definitely going for a certain audience with this. I would say probably people like us, you know, kind of millennials that are, you know, at that point in our lives where we're interested in things like home furnishings. We got there a little while ago. This isn't quite our taste home furnishings wise, but I do like the label. I think it's tasteful. It's restrained. If I saw it on a wine wall in a restaurant, I'd think, I wonder what that tastes like. I'm always a sucker for gold foil, and I think the type treatment is very tasteful.
Yeah, you know what else makes me realise that this is aimed... Okay. Might be someone else in the house, but we're going to keep going anyway. You know what else makes me realise this is for young people? It's because if you're over 25, there's no way in hell you're reading any of this. I took a photo of the bottle before to use on the super, and I didn't even realise that it said the variety or year of the wine on it. It actually says 2021 there. You're not going to see it.
It's faint, yeah.
No way in hell. They're like challenging you to try to read some of this. But yeah, on the back it says that James Busby arrived in Australia with vine cuttings that would go on to express the fullest character of the Australian terroir and herald the beginning of a world-class wine culture. I just hope you check those with customs. I don't think you're supposed to bring vine cuttings in your suitcase. Just keep that in mind. It's not cool, James, but you got away with it. And I agree with you. When you look at this, it makes you wonder how it's going to taste. Something about it makes you think, this looks like it's going to be good. And it is pretty good. And that's what we're about to get into right now. So the nose on this one The weird thing with the nose on this one is that there isn't one. It's really hard to smell anything. And I'm not saying that as a negative. It's just the truth. There's not much nose to it. You got to bury your face in there. I barely get anything. How about you?
I get something, but it's sort of hard to describe. It's sort of a weird mix of how do I say? There's a little bit of licorice in there. There's a little bit of honey. It's quite sweet to me. It is faint.
Yeah, for me, it's got a fresh, slightly herby smell. Originally I was going to say that it's like freshly mown grass, but it's not quite that smell. It's more of a dried herb sort of smell. But yeah,
nice.
And look, when an aroma of a wine is not strong, that's not a bad thing. It's just it just takes away a little bit of the fun if there's not a whole commentary you can give about the nose on a wine. But it's better than it smelling sharp and horrible. So yeah, that's the nose. Let's see how it actually tastes. So for me, the taste on this, and I think this is the reason why it's hard to give commentary about it, is really, really subtle. And I think that's the strength of this Grenache. It's so well balanced that it's hard to pick out standout flavors. And that's also the reason why it'll get the rating that it's going to get from us. It's very nice. When we opened it last night, we were very impressed. We thought this is great. We had it with dinner. Really enjoyed it. It's very balanced, very smooth. It has edges of sourness, but like intentional sourness, like sour fruits. But it's also very well balanced with subtle sweetness. So you get that sourness, and then it sort of immediately transforms into a subtle sweetness on the exit. It's kind of juicy, but also velvety. So it's got these kind of two extremes that literally are cancelling each other out the whole time. That's how I would describe the taste on this one. It's great because you get a bit of everything and it's all perfectly balanced. That's how I would describe it. Have you got any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's very well rounded. It's misleadingly light in taste and body. It's decently high in alcohol. I think it's
14.5 or something.
14.6 even.
14.6. And yeah, we didn't do a look on this one, but I mean, it looks a little lighter at first when you pour it.
It does.
It's not quite transparent, fairly transparent, certainly more so than a Shiraz or even a Cab Sav. So it sort of looks a bit like a heavier Pinot when you pour it, but it's still high in the alcohol content.
Yeah, so like I guess a Grenache should be. It sort of tastes and looks quite airy. It's not juicy though, which is in our books good. Doesn't taste like a fruit juice or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm getting a little sick of describing wines as juicy. Look, it's a certain taste that sometimes is welcome, but I'm getting a bit over it. We've had a few that have been like that, so I'm glad this one's not like that. Whatever fruits this one has are sour type fruits, but in a good way.
Yeah, like a raspberry sort of tartness.
Yeah. The label did mention sort of a grapefruit, like a ruby grapefruit. And this is one label where I actually have to say when I read it, I really agreed with all their tasting notes. We like to use our own words and not sort of use terminology we've picked up from the back of wine bottles. So we go out of our way to do that. But this one mentioned brown spices, I think thyme, like herbs, leather, and the ruby grapefruit. And I have to agree with all of that. It's a pretty good description of this one. But it's all super subtle. It's all in there together, cancelling each other out for this very smooth, velvety red. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty glowing recommendation for this one. Now, what do you give this out of 10?
I think I would give it a 7.5. It's very easy drinking. It's very tasty. I think if you're having it with the kind of meal that calls for a wine that's lighter in taste, it would go well with almost anything. But yeah, nothing's blowing me away.
Yeah, that's perfectly said. I give it a 7.5 as well. Very good, almost an 8. The funny thing is the only reason I'm not giving it an 8 is because there's just nothing really standout about it. You don't drink it and think, oh, that's a sort of interesting flavour that I haven't had before. It's more just that it's so balanced, so smooth that, yeah, it's just an easy ride, but There's a little bit of compounding in the sourness if you're drinking it on its own, like without food. Sorry, I'm blinking so much, something's in my eye. Yeah, so a great wine. I would certainly buy it again at the price point that we got it. And yeah, recommend it. And a 7.5. So that is the James Busby Barossa Valley Grenache 2021. Remember, do not bring plants in through customs. Declare them. But if you are going to, then start a good winery with those plants. And don't watch Boogie Nights. It's not worth it. It's like you should have watched it back in the day.
It's too late for me.
Yeah. So thanks again for joining us on The Wine Cage. If you've had a good red in the last week or two, tell us about it. Put it in the comments. Tell us the full name and year so that we can check it out if we can find it. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Cheers.